Today we are going to do our second day of painting values, and we are going to be working on the second square and painting orange. So my students are going to start off with the pure color of orange. Going to dip their brush right inside that orange, kind of swipe it off on the side. Then very carefully they'll be painting right inside of the lines that they drew on the second square. Again, this is the pure color. They're just going to go right inside this small little spot. When they're done with Mr. Brush, I'd like them to just rest it down on their table. We'll be washing the tables when we're done painting. Next, what we are going to do is mix a tint of orange. So instead of using palettes today, we're going to be using old CDs. They're a little bit smaller and easier for me to wash. So we're going to take just a teeny tiny bit of white, not a lot, just a little bit, and put it just on a little spot here of our CD, which is our palette. Now this spoon is for white, so it goes back into the white. Once I have a little bit of white on my CD, I put it back into the white so other people can use it. It is only for white, so it shouldn't be getting in the red or the black or the orange. Just the spoon is for just the white, so you're putting a little bit of white onto your palette. So on my palette, I have a tiny pile of white, and on my brush, I have pure orange. It is orange, not mixed with any other color. So I'm going to take that, and right in this little spot here, I'm mixing up the orange with the white, and I'm doing that until I don't see stripes, because right now I can see really stripes of orange and really good stripes of white. So I mix it up until I can see a nice, even, light colored orange. Once I have a nice, even colored orange, I'm going to paint that tint. This is a tint of orange now. And I'm going right above my pure color and filling in that white space on my paper. So now above the pure orange, I have a tint of orange, and now I can put my brush right down there on my CD palette. Next, we're going to wash our brush so that we can get ready to make a shade. So we need to have it clean. So we're going to swish it around in the water, kind of gently tickling his hair or his bristles on the bottom of the cup. And when we take it out of the cup, we do a swipe, swipe. You go back in and kind of tickle the bottom and swipe on the side. We don't ever do bang, bang, because that splashes water all over the art room and it can wreck our artwork. So once I've swished it and swiped it, I'm going to take the brush and a paper towel, and I'm going to pinch the brush inside of the paper towel to get the water out of its hair. So I'm getting him nice and clean and dry. So now Mr. Brush would be ready to paint the next color. So he's clean and dry. Next, what we're getting ready to do is to paint the shade of orange. And so we're going to be using black, but black is a super, super powerful color. You barely need any black to turn the orange into a shade. So my students will take a tiny bit of black and put it onto their palette somewhere away from their shade. Or their tint, excuse me. They don't want to go next to the tint because we're trying to make a shade. That's a teeny tiny bit of black. And now I put the spoon either on the lid or on the table, but out of the way. I have a teeny tiny black on my palette. Then I'm going to dip my brush in pure orange. I have pure orange on my brush. I have a teeny tiny bit of pure black on my palette, and now I mix those two together. Now it wasn't very much black, and it's still making a very dark color. I can still see orange on my brush, so I'm still mixing. I'm not painting my whole CD with the shade. I'm just painting this little tiny spot where I'm using it to mix. I'm not even painting, I'm mixing. So it's kind of making like a brownish color. with that orange and black. And once I've kind of got that mixed up, then I'm going to carefully paint. We're in box number 2. Right underneath the pure orange, I painted my shade of orange. So a teeny tiny bit of black with a little bit of orange. So the next thing we need to do is really, really wash that shade off of our brush. So I'm really swishing in the water, swiping on the side, swishing on the water, tickling the bottom with his hair, swiping it on the side, and then I'm going to really make sure he's dry and clean. If there's a bunch of color on my paper towel, I may need to dip him in once more. So my color is not coming off of my paper towel. Looks like it's clean. So now we're going to move over to square number 3, and we're going to work on our pure color of yellow. So I'm going to dip in the yellow, then right in square number 3, just in the middle, not the whole square, just in the middle, I'm painting the pure color of yellow. When I'm done with that, I rest Mr. Brush down on the lid of the paint container. Right now we're painting the pure color of yellow. Okay, so next what we're going to be working on is our tint of yellow. So I've got my paints right here. This orange almost went into the white, which would make that a tint of orange, and I just want white. So I'm taking a teeny bit of white, and I'm going to put it right on my palette in a clean spot. My brush already has pure yellow on it. You can put a little more if you want. Only pure yellow, only pure white, and then I'm going to mix them together until they make a tint of yellow or a light yellow. So I mix, mix, mix. Once I don't see stripes of yellow and stripes of white, then I know I've made a tint. And then I can move my painting over. And I will paint the tint right on top above the pure yellow. So I fill that in right above. This is a second grade lesson on value, mixing tints and shades, the color orange and yellow.